So, I set my St. George's interview in 2019, and I got my offer about 2 or 3 months later, so there's a little bit of a wait. And the first question most people have is, does the amount of time I have to wait for a reply mean I've got in or not? No, it's completely random, so that's the first thing I want to say. Now, I also want to talk a little bit about the interview process, how it happened for me for St. George's, what I did, what happened. Even if it's online, this will be really helpful because they test the exact same things, and they want you to do the same things, obviously. It's just the format that's changed. So, if it's online or in person, it doesn't matter. So the St. George's interview itself for me was in person, obviously, and it was based in Tooting, where the campus is. The first thing to note about St. George's is that it is basically part of a hospital. So this reflects really importantly because St. George's love a clinical interview. So they will pretty much frame every question they ask in the context of a clinical setting. This also reflects on the kind of questions they ask. They always ask about things like when you're a doctor, or in terms of working as an MDT, or when you're dealing with a patient. That's the most important thing to note about it. Now, the interview itself, I went into the campus, I had to wait with about 100 other people, 150 people, and I went in for about a 9-station interview or something like that, and it's basically in this little room. There's about tables and desks set up, and you basically circulate through it until you finish. There are no rest stations again for St. George's, just like King's, which I did a video on, you can have a look at if you want. And yeah, it's a pretty standard interview. There aren't too many like surprise stations. They ask pretty bog standard things. So they ask about things like work experience, volunteering, they ask about ethics, etc. But because it's a more clinical interview, they're going to ask stations related to clinical things. So they'll ask about work experience, how that translates as your function as a doctor. They'll definitely ask about ethics as well, because that's really important. They'll probably ask about a role play. So a role play station was there for me, I remember. I wouldn't say it was my best station either, and if you want more resources on the role play, I've done a role play specific video that you can check out as well. Outside of that, it's pretty much normal interview. I would also recommend reading up some scientific books, maybe some medical books. Atul Gawande is the sort of textbook author that everyone reads, so if you want a good start, that's a good one. Just in case they ask you about a book that you've read recently, that's important to do. And also, it'll be good for you. You'll get a little bit more knowledge about medicine in a wider context in the world, so that's really important. Now, the St. George's interview, as well as being really clinical, it's kind of the weirdest interview that I had, in the sense that the role play station was there. They asked about things that I read in the medical literature, so yeah, it's a little bit more of a wider interview. They assess a few different things than normal interviews would, but it's not completely strange, so don't worry about any sort of weird stations coming up. What I'd also say for St. George's is that because it's such a clinical thing, you have to reflect. Reflection is super important in St. George's. I can't stress enough how important it is. So please make sure whenever you're answering a question in St. George's, you're always reflecting things, always reflecting on how it's going to help you be a better doctor. That's really important, so please do remember to sort of phrase and frame every question that you answer in the context of reflection. So that is picking up an experience that you did, key theme that you developed during that, and how that theme's going to translate into your role as a doctor. And that's really all there is to talk about the interview. I went home after that. I think it took me about 2 to 3 months to get a response. Some people got it quicker, some people had it longer, so it's really random. There's no correlation between whether you get in and how long it takes to get a response. There's absolutely no correlation. It's a random process. I don't know what they're based on. Aside from that, thanks for listening. If you want more station-specific videos, I've done loads on my channel, on King's, Imperial, on roleplay stations, etc. Aside from that, I'll see you all in the next video.